It was a day the African Union would never forget. Tension hung heavy in the air, thicker than the dust on the marble floors. In the grand hall, every eye was on them. Ramaphosa calm, composed, calculated. And then there was Traoré, unassuming, maybe, but powerful, unstoppable. That was about to be proven. And Tinubu? He stood across the room, jaw tight, hands clenched, every breath a silent storm. This wasn't just a meeting. This was a battlefield. And the stakes? Nothing short of legacy. Tinubu, whispering to Aide, did they just? This can't be happening. Aide, sir, it's already in motion. A single vote. One word. One gesture. That was all it took to ignite a firestorm that would ripple across the continent. Narrator, Traoré's rise wasn't by accident. It was a careful orchestration. Meetings in shadowed corridors. Conversations sealed with nods and promises. Ramaphosa had pushed, quietly, deliberately, and the room knew it. Everyone felt it. Tinubu, to himself, I've seen politics. I've played the game. But this is different. The air was thick with whispers. Allies turned, unsure where loyalty truly lay. Eyes darted. Hearts raced. Every handshake, every smile, a potential betrayal. And yet, in the calm eye of the storm, Traoré stood. Listening, observing, waiting. Traoré, gentlemen, ladies, this is bigger than any one of us. It's about the future. Africa's future. The words hung. Heavy, like a verdict before the jury. Tinubu's frustration simmered. Every calculated move suddenly felt like a misstep. Every plan unraveling under the weight of a single endorsement. Tinubu, slamming fist on table, how did we not see this coming? Aide, sir. Ramaphosa's influences. Tinubu, cutting him off influence? It's manipulation. The room shifted. Allies aligned. Enemies smiled in subtle triumphs. And through it all, Traoré's calm, unwavering gaze cut through the chaos. And then it happened. The announcement. The vote. The moment every whisper, every glance, had been leading to. AU chair. By majority, Traoré is the endorsed candidate. Silence. The kind that screams louder than a storm. Tinubu froze. A breath caught, trembling in his chest. Tinubu, voice low, barely audible, this cannot be. Narrator, Ramaphosa's face remained a mask. Calm, almost serene. He had played the long game. Every move calculated, every risk weighed. And now, victory. Not loud, not brash, but undeniable. Traoré, softly, to Ramaphosa, we did it. Ramaphosa, nodding yes. But the real work begins now. Eyes that had once glared with suspicion now turned to awe. The room had shifted. Power had moved. And in that shift, a storm of anger and betrayal brewed silently. Tinubu, to Aide, voice shaking, this isn't over. Aide, no, sir. Not by a long shot. Every journalist, every diplomat, every observer felt the tremor. The ripples of one moment would reach every corner of the continent. Every alliance tested. Every loyalty questioned. And in the heart of it all, two men who had gambled everything, watching, waiting for the next move. Weeks later, the hall was quiet again. But the echoes remained. Traoré, backed and rising, carried the weight of a continent's hopes. Ramaphosa, strategic and silent, had won more than just a vote. He had won history. And Tinubu? His fury had not diminished. It simmered, a quiet storm that could not be ignored. He learned, painfully, that influence alone does not secure victory. Timing, patience, and understanding the currents of power, these were what shaped destiny. The African Union had witnessed a subtle revolution, one that would be whispered in corridors, written in history books, debated in cafes, and remembered by those who had been present. Power, as always, had a price. Loyalty, a test. And in the shadows of victory, there were lessons written in sweat, tension, and quiet triumphs. This was more than politics. This was a story of ambition, strategy, and the human heart. A story where every decision mattered, and every silence spoke volumes. And as the sun set over the AU headquarters, one thing was clear. History had been made. And it was far from over.